welcome to another segment of Calling Out Your Team. Going to the ice for this one in the NHL, talking about the Seattle Kraken, team I follow the most in the NHL. Um, Between the NFL, NBA, NHL, the NHL is the league that I do follow the least. But since the Kraken are a new team this year, kind of thought I'd jump ship, follow a new team, and kind of give I guess a year one analysis. I mean, obviously they're not done yet. They're only about three-quarters of the way through the season at this point. But as they currently sit, Kraken are 16, 35, and 5 with 37 points. Last in the Pacific, minus 56 scoring differential. Not looking like they're going to make the full postseason. I mean, it's pretty much a wrap at this point. They need to go on a pretty much historic win streak and bank on, I mean, Edmonton, Calgary, Kings, like literally every team ahead of them to go on a bad stretch for them to even try to sniff a wild card spot. So throwing that out the door, kind of looking at some areas of improvement, maybe some people to bring in, some people that they should play more, things like that. Starting with goaltending, I mean, goaltending, for from a basic sense, the way I always compare it is the goalie is kind of the quarterback on the ice. If they have a good, like, you basically need to run your team through them. If they're standing on their head and blocking everything, like the rest of your team plays well. If they're throwing interceptions, or in this case, letting 5+ goals go through in a game, then your team is going to struggle on other fronts to try to play out of character to make up those goals. Um, so talking about the number one goaltender for the Kraken, Philip Grubauer, kind of talking about some statistics of his, over 3 goals allowed per game. 11 of his games, he's allowed 2 goals or less, and he's also allowed 11 games giving up 4 goals or more. So the fact that he's even on both of those fronts has shown that he isn't having really the best season. I mean, really, the goaltending in general for Seattle hasn't been the best, as all three goalies are allowing 3.55 goals per game, which, I mean, I don't know if it's the worst in the league, but it definitely sounds like it'd be one of the worst. Um, so obviously, to kind of combat that and help with that, picking up another goalie in the offseason. I know Marc-Andre Fleury has been talking about his kind of disinterest in staying with Chicago. Don't know how many years he has left in the tank. He might go back to where it all started and finish out his career as well. So who knows what he's going to do. But obviously, there's other goalies that are going to be on the market, whether it's free agency, drafts, guys coming up from the ECHL, AHL, things like that. And obviously, to help with that as well, I know a lot of the games I've watched this season of Seattle is the puck is just always on their side of the ice. It's hard for them to get it into the offensive zone, which has led to the poor goaltending because they're constantly under duress of how many pucks are getting thrown at them. So on top of, I mean, obviously having another goalie who can stop those shots, getting a defenseman to, I mean, assist the goalie, help break apart any offensive pushes by the other team is going to be huge as well. I mean, the trade deadline is still not too far away. There's a couple guys, PK Subban. I'm trying to think of who else. Well, they already have Giordano, but I'm blanking on the other. There's another name I had in my head and I lost it. But yeah, there's defensemen out there for them to go get if they want to make a move for this season. Again, it isn't going to make too much of a difference because they're not in the running for the playoffs, but to kind of develop them and see how they fit in with the team and see if they want to commit to them long term would obviously be good. But this offseason, going after bringing in one of the top defensemen is going to help a lot. And then a name to kind of throw out there as far as a very small sample size we've seen of him, Max McCormick. He's only played 10 games with the Kraken, currently with the AHL Charlotte Checkers. He's done well there, 22 points in 29 games. But I definitely think that given where the Kraken are, it wouldn't hurt to bring him up and kind of give him some more looks and see how he does throughout the rest of the season here. Really throughout his whole career, only 93 games played in his 6 seasons, so he barely has, I mean, 11 more games than a full season played in 6 games or 6 seasons in the league. But kind of looking at his recent trends in the last couple of seasons with the teams he's been on, he's plus 19 when on the ice with his last 4 teams he's been on in 3 different seasons. So the guy's kind of starting to become a little bit of a suitcase, moving around a lot, but he has proven that when he's the team he's on, when he's on the ice, he is doing something to contribute, whether it's assisting, scoring, just moving the puck around to find the open guy, whatever it might be. Anytime you have a plus, you're in the positive in your differential. That's obviously sought after in any professional sport. I mean, obviously talking about him, a little biased because he's a Wisconsin native from De Pere, Wisconsin, but he's shown flashes of potential without really getting the leash completely taken off of him during his career. Again, only 10 games with the Kraken. I mean, you take those away, he's really only had a full season of hockey, even though he's been around for 6 seasons. So I think it's time that he kind of just gets the reins let loose on him, see what he's got, let him play. I mean, the rest of the season, give him a stretch to where he's not trying to figure out a new city, a new team, new guys to play with, a new shift, new line, things like that. Because, like I said, he's shown potential when he does get stretches, when he does get the look, the nod to be on the ice, but not enough of a sample size, obviously, for anybody to really commit to him as he's moved around a lot. So, given where the Kraken are at, obviously a new team, kind of figuring out who to keep, who to get rid of, how to move forward. I think McCormick is one of those guys who, while he's still kind of in that age of being in his prime, you got to figure out, okay, is this guy going to be a good leader for us, a potential captain, if we can get some production out of him. Otherwise, he's obviously one of those guys they need to move on from. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Obviously, we'll be following them. Any news that comes up with them between now and the end of the season, any moves they make before the trade deadline, things like that. But appreciate you listening in. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out all my other videos as well, and tune in for the next video.